When it comes to Cody Rhodes, like I said, a lot of people feel he's becoming the Jeff Jarrett of AEW, or is he? I did a video on that prior to this one. In fact, a couple of videos before this one, so check that out if you like. And I already had somebody respond saying that that's not the case. But like I said, there are those like OTRS Central and others that believe he is, just by the fact that he didn't put over someone like Anthony Ogogo when he could have. But speaking of Cody, one of the things people hope Cody will do is turn heel. And the reason for that is they feel he is more natural in that role. But if that is the case, if Cody turns heel, especially with the fact that he's an EVP in All Elite Wrestling, what exactly would Cody do to prove he's a full-on heel? What would be one of the heelish things he could do? Well, I think one of the heelish things he could do is basically use his power as EVP to override the decision that he agreed to about a year or two ago with Chris Jericho. Because remember, he agreed, I think it was at All Out or Full Gear, that if he couldn't beat Chris Jericho for this, that he would never challenge for it ever again. So to me, if Cody Rhodes is to turn heel, then the first thing I think Cody should do as a heel is override that stipulation and say, hey, I'm the EVP, I can do whatever I want, I'm going to override the stipulation, and I'm going to give myself a title shot. Now you might say, well, what if Kenny Omega's still champion by the time that moment happens? Well, that will be really interesting. It'll be very interesting to see exactly who is positioned as the babyface and as the heel. A lot of people between the two would say that Cody would be the more uber over heel than Kenny Omega. That Kenny Omega by default is the natural babyface. However, you have to ask yourself, what if Omega's not champion when that moment comes? Then obviously, it would make sense for Cody to, not only override that decision as a heel, but to also stack the match in his favor, stack the card, in his favor against whoever is holding the belt. Now, a lot of people would assume it's going to be Hangman Page before the year's out, and that is a good assumption. It seems to be that they want to go in that direction. But then again, it could be anybody else. It could be Christian, for all we know. It could be Sting. That's something to look into, especially the history with Sting and the Rhodes family. You can't get any more personal and more heelish-wise than that. And, it makes you wonder, whoever the champion is, what kind of match would Cody put them in as a heel, basically by stacking things in their favor, or in his favor? Would he find a way, let's say, for example, Cody turns heel, uses his power to override the stipulation so he gets a shot at this, and the champion's Omega. What could Cody do to put himself over as an uber heel, besides stacking the match in his favor? Oh, I don't know. How about during the match, you have Omega's buddies, including Callis, turn against him? That's one way of doing it, and thus the Elite is now aligned with Cody. Or, on the other hand, if you have Hangman Adam Page holding the belt, then you basically have Cody add the stipulation to Hangman Adam Page that he had to endure. And that is if Cody wins, Hangman can't challenge for the belt ever again, despite his win-loss record. Or you could have, let's say, Sting, just as a thank you for what he's done for the business, win the belt and then defend it against Cody. You could have Cody use the same stipulation that Bully Ray, used against Sting in Impact Wrestling, and that is, that but Sting can no longer challenge for this championship no matter what. Now, I know you're thinking, well, that's the same thing as Adam Page. That is true, but here's the thing. With Adam Page, they could add that, but then again, they could just add maybe for the rest of the year, or maybe for at least 90 days, or as long as Cody has the belt. They could go in any direction that way. But for Sting, him being at the age he is, they could say, you can't challenge for the belt ever again. period, no matter who's champion. And that could work. That's an uber heelish way of looking at things for Cody if Cody was to go heel. Or if you look at someone like Christian, you might say, well, what would Christian have to do with this? How would this affect Christian? Because Christian could be a natural heel as well. Here's the thing. Christian right now is positioned as a babyface. He is in his twilight years, as the old saying would go. So basically, why not have the same stipulation for Christian? Or you could add in that Cody could have Christian put his career on the line, his in-ring career, and that if he can't, keep this, if he loses this to Cody, then not only does he lose the world title, he loses his in-ring career. Again, there's many options, many solutions and directions they could go in with a Cody Rhodes heel turn, especially when it comes to being the AEW World Champion or the AEW World Championship. But the only question is right now is when and where that heel turn will happen. Because every time he comes out, his entrances get bigger and more spectacular. His outfits get more into that kind of almost heelish-like, status. And he has shown signs throughout, his tenure in AEW of being a heel. But the question would be, again, when would AEW, and especially Cody, decide to pull the trigger? Is it going to be after Cody's daughter is born? Probably. Are they going to wait another year? Who knows? But what do you guys think? When do you think the Cody Rhodes heel turn will happen in AEW? And do you think, as a heel, he'll use his power to override that stipulation of him not getting a world title shot and instead nullify it so he gets one against whoever the champion is? And who do you think would be the person he would challenge? Would it be Omega, Christian, Paige, Sting? What are your thoughts? Comment down below. Let me know how you feel about this. Comment in the live chat during the premiere. And I will talk to y'all later.